Welcome to the Sly Fox Tavern, everybody. My name's Pat Fox, and tonight I'm lucky to have with me as our special guest, Jay Wilkinson, the offensive coordinator at Broken Arrow High School just outside of Tulsa. Coach won the state championship a couple years back, I think, and does a great job. Jay, hey, welcome.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me. And first time we've kind of crossed paths. I know we've been on the Glacier circuit opposite each other, but kind of first time meeting face to face.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How you holding up in the quarantine?
Good. We started working with our kids this past Monday, so it's kind of been nice to be around those guys. Of course, like we were talking right before the show started, the Oklahoma weather, it's pretty brutal right now. So, but we're it kind of feels like a little bit of normalcy getting around our kids and that kind of stuff. So that's been nice.
We got to do some of that. We can't get inside with them with the weights, but we can be on the field with them doing running and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Coach, yeah. Tell me, where is Broken Arrow exactly?
So we're just a suburb outside of Tulsa. So, I mean, matter of fact, I'm about 2 miles from the high school, and my house is actually in the city limits of Tulsa. So we're just right on the outskirts there.
Very cool. Very cool. We're out in Michigan, and for a long time, Michigan State was playing 4-3 with press quarters and playing great defense. So we started to see a lot of that. And when I get the impression of, football in Oklahoma and that area of the country, I think wide open, up tempo. Is that pretty much what people are doing offensively out there, mirroring what they're seeing in the area? Or
yeah, for the most part, I mean, everybody, when it's kind of funny, whenever I was growing up, I mean, everybody was a wishbone team because that's what OU did. Very
absolutely.
And now, with what OU has done, and even, Tulsa having Gus Malzahn, Chad Morris, and now Coach Montgomery, and then, OSU throwing around. I mean, you kind of see the different versions of what those three teams are doing. But where it's been kind of interesting has been the transition of defense because, forever kind of the trend was a four-man front, Mike Stoops, Bob Stoops, Brent Venables, and now all three schools are playing the three down front. Tulsa's gone to the three safety stuff, so a lot of guys have been over there. So that's been kind of where, the trend, it's kind of funny to see how the high school guys have morphed defensively.
Okay. I guess when I think about football in Oklahoma, I was out there about a decade ago, and I hung out with Alan. I got the tour of Jinx, and I know about Union. I know about Broken Arrow. Tell me about football in the state. I think of Tulsa. I think like it's Texas.
Right.
Is the whole state that way?
Yes and no. We have, I guess, 7 state champions that play 11-man football. So we have Class A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, and then 6A. They divided 6A to the two different. So we have a 6A1 and a 6A2. I think the difference is the 6A1 schools. Are you a one school town or are you a multiple school town? So I think like for us being the largest high school in the state, and only being one school in our town, we have some benefits that maybe like an Edmond who has 3 schools doesn't have. So, for us, when we go to, put in new turf or build an indoor, I mean, it's boom, it's done. There they've got to do it for all 3 high schools to be equal. So I think that, kind of balances the edge a little bit towards us. But, on that west side of the state, matter of fact, Edmond Santa Fe won our district. They beat us and Jinx this year, had some really good players. And, they're just probably the programs there haven't maybe been consistent like some of the schools over here, Jinx and Union, and then Owasa's won 2 out of the last 3, and ourselves. But then like when you drop down in some classes, like you go down to 5A, Carl Albert has been a power in 5A, and that's a West Side school. 4A has kind of bounced back and forth, and then some of the smaller schools, it just, there's kind of perennial powers in each classification, and they're mixed up kind of all over the state. But I think the the bigger schools, obviously, I think the last 20 years, the state champion has come from the east side of the state.
Okay. Now, Coach, we always ask our guests if you can share with us something that you think you do best schematically or teach best. What would you like to share tonight with us?
Well, I'm going to kind of go against the grain here. We're kind of a heavier personnel run the football team, but I think one of the things kind of in my wheelhouse is, I coach quarterbacks and have been a spread throw it around guy. And so I just think even though we're not that, just the way we kind of lay things out and organize things, especially the first couple of installs, kind of how we coach the quarterbacks. And I don't think it's anything revolutionary, but I just think we've got a pretty good system that gets those guys thinking the way we want them to think throughout the course of the season.
We'd love to see it, Coach. You want to put that up on share?
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen here.
Perfect.
Let me
I was taking some heat on Twitter today because I invited Kenny Chesney to come join and watch us today, but I guess he's not going to be with us. I don't know.
Who's that?
Kenny Chesney.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I thought that was pretty good.
I go to his shows. I thought maybe he'd come in and sit in the tavern and might like it. All right, Coach, you ready?
Yeah, let me. I'm pulling up these PowerPoints right now, so I kind of have them ready to go here. Let me.
Now you got like 3 kids, don't you?
4.
4. Holy cow.
Yeah, so I've been chasing them around kind of all day here. Let me get back over here.
No worries.
4 kids, yeah, it's making me old, that's for sure.
I have two junior daughters next year. Here we go.
All right, you got me?
I do.
Perfect. Okay, so in talking again, these plays aren't anything. I'm kind of the world's greatest thief when it comes to all this stuff. There's nothing in here, revolutionary. But one of the things that we talk about, like with our quick game is whether it's a 2x2 or a 3x1 formation. So for us, like we're taking this corner route, people call it 3-man snag. But we want to take this and break this down into the progression of the half-field side. So, if anybody sees the Dan Gonzalez stuff, I mean, this is kind of a ram read. We're going to read this away from the mic. So, generically speaking, we're seeing, maybe a 4-3 type box here with two high safeties, and we're playing away from the Mike linebacker. So how we teach this thing to our quarterbacks would be, okay, we're going to find the Mike. If he's in the middle or he's backside, then we're going to play the progression of corner. And so it's our basic, like people call it snag route, where you've got an 8-yard quick corner, you've got a replace route here and a swing by the tailback. So free release swing. So what we tell the quarterback is when we come out and we know we're playing the corner side, our progression is 1, 2, 3, but how we're going to get there and transition this quickly is we're going to read this corner, because he's going to basically tell us whether or not we have the first read. If the corner backs up, we know we're off of that now, and we can quickly get to 2 to 3 based on what this outside linebacker does. If the corner stays down, then we've got to throw this quick corner route away from the safety out here basically in what we would call the edge, kind of area between the numbers and the sideline here. So if the corner's down, we're throwing that. The corner raises, our eyes go right now to this linebacker. If he widens, we throw the replace. If he hangs on the replace, we throw to the back. And so kind of in doing that, and this is kind of the first thing that we install, because then as we go through this, we start talking about, okay, what coverages, how they affect this route. So generically speaking, we said, the corner backing up, but then as we get, further in the install, we start talking about, if this is a quarters technique corner and he's reading 2, then typically he's going to be high if he's playing palms or something like that. If it's a cover 2 type look and he's a squat player, okay, then that safety is going to be off the hash, and we get into how we shape this quick corner away from the safety, all right? And then we start talking about, okay, if it rolls to cover 3 somehow, The corner's high. Now this flat player might typically be a little bit wider, so now that replace is set down inside of him. And so I just like kind of installing this from the get-go, just because then it takes us through basically all the coverages that we'll see from a 2x2 look. All right, and then we start, getting to, okay, what happens now on the back side? So like in this instance, we've kind of got a high-low off the outside linebacker, a dig, quick in type look. And so now we start talking about, okay, if this Mike linebacker starts pushing over and now they can get, the corner high underneath the quick corner, the outside linebacker now outside on the back, and the Mike pushes over, now they're vacating this backside. So then we start, again, the whole process of, okay, we're going to high-low this outside linebacker. If he goes with this bin route, we're throwing the 5-yard in. If he stays down low, then we've got to throw this bin in this window where the Mike vacated. So, that's just kind of a day one, kind of a generic install for us. And then what we'll start doing is we have about 4 or 5 routes on the back side of this that we install. So we talk about, the base side of it being the corner side for us. And then on the back side, the different routes that we want to incorporate to take advantage of the defense if the Mike is playing over. If the Mike just stays in the middle, we should be throwing this all day long. And then we get into, okay, if it's, a man-to-man type look and we've got matchups, or if it's cover 0 and we don't think we're going to get the quick corner, well, then we might build in double slants or fade flat over here. And so, again, nothing revolutionary, but I just think it does a really good job of kind of training the quarterbacks in our system, their progressions, and most importantly, coverages and how they react. So from there, we would go into the second day, our 3x1 day, which spacing, if anybody follows Andrew Coverdale, like a lot of this stuff, I kind of stole from Cub because he's the best. I wish my PowerPoints were as good as his. But so now we talk about in a 3x1 look, we're going to play the spacing side, which everybody kind of does, where there's the mini curl, the flat, and the set. But what we talk about is, okay, over here now, when we have a one receiver, now the question is, do we have one-on-one? So let me get down to a route here. Okay, so now we've got out spacing. So we want to look out here, and if we get one-on-one, we want to throw that all day long because it takes the thinking out of everything.
Coach, you want to take and bump that slide up for me?
The bunch one?
Yes.
Okay.
You got that on there for us?
Yeah, can you see it?
No.
I'm
still looking at Rip
I know what I did. I switched PowerPoints on me, and I've got to share the screen again.
That's
my fault. Let me get back in here. Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
All right. So you got spacing now?
Yes, I do.
All right. So let me rerun through this. So then as we transition to day 2 install, okay, the first quick route that we put in is spacing. So again, this is, stolen from Andrew Coverdale. I wish my PowerPoints were as good as him, but, stole a lot of this from a lot of his quick game ideas. And so we talk about spacing, how we like to run it out of a 3x1 receiver set. And so now that it's a little bit different for us. Now, instead of finding, maybe the Mike linebacker, now we want to look over here in a 3x1 look and say, okay, do we have one-on-one over here? Okay, if we have one-on-one, then we want to throw whatever route concept we have tagged all day long. And again, this is a deal where now on the backside of spacing, we have, 5 or 6 different route combinations, either with the one receiver or the one receiver in the back that we like to attack various coverages with. But if we don't get one-on-one, then what we want to do is we want to be able to consistently get back to the spacing side of it and play our progression. And so kind of like we did with the corner route, we talked through, okay, we know we're going to have a corner over here. So now what coverages are they going to run that they can get 2 over our one receiver? So maybe it's, we talked through a clouded look where maybe the safety starts cheating off the hash, corners down, so we don't have that. So now we've got to play the 3 receiver side. Or maybe it's a 3-4 defense with a softer corner and a wider outside linebacker. And Maybe they're playing like a poach or a load technique here with the safety back across the 3. And so, again, they're not revolutionary concepts, but just I really like going through here and teaching, our different combinations that we work out of 3x1 and 2x2. And it gives them a really good foundation, I think, of coverages and the stuff that we're planning on seeing. And that way, where day 3 or day 4 now, if we get into a 4 vertical look, we've already talked through 2x2 coverages and 3x1 coverages. And so, when we go into install 1, let me switch back here to the corner screen here. So when we go install 1, they know in 7-on-7, probably half of the routes that we throw are going to have this corner tag to it with something else on the backside. And so they just get that rep over and over and trying to show them the different coverages. And then we go day 2, everything's tagged with spacing. So it's spacing on one side and then our 3 or 4 different combinations that we want to run on the backside of it. And so I just think, again, just kind of going back to, I really feel like this is one of the better things that we do. The past 2 years, we've played 25 football games and we've thrown 4 interceptions. And I think a lot of that has been just the whole, one is a little bit of our offensive philosophy, but 2, I feel like, our quarterbacks have a pretty good idea of where they're going with the football based on the coverage that they're seeing. And a lot of that goes back to, our day 1 and day 2 installs, just kind of the system that we go through to teach them what we want into what looks.
I think it's outstanding, Coach. I think, the more you can make things seem the same for kids, the easier it is for them to read. We throw a ton of spacing too.
Yeah.
We do a lot of 4x1, a lot of 3x2 stuff with it. And I think we clearly teach how we want it done better than other things. And that's why our kids have the success with it. And you're doing the same thing with your corner concept. And I think that's outstanding.
Yeah. And then, for everything that we do, typically we always have some type of double move off of it. So in most of our base quick game, we have some kind of, double move, whether it be a corner post by the corner route or replace and go. We'll do some almost like hitch and go off of spacing stuff. The one thing that I did take away, probably like everybody else that's in coaching, I've seen 100 of these Zoom clinics and all that, and listening to Cov, he did one, Coach Coverdale, and the thing that I really liked is that I'm going to start including that I haven't done to this point is really talking about the goal of the play. So, I think we go through and we talk through progressions and routes and stuff like that, but, it's like I want to talk through, hey, the whole goal kind of for us of corner route is basically to throw that replace off of that linebacker. We really want that linebacker to widen with the back. We in a perfect world, when we call it, that's kind of what we're looking for. And so I don't think probably after listening to him, that's the thing I probably haven't done a good enough job. Like I've taught them the concept, but I want kind of in their mind, instead of it being, okay, I can throw to any 3 of these guys, which they can based off of it, but it's like as a play caller, here's kind of the goal of what we want to do, And so I listened to Coverdale talk about that, and that's the thing I think that I'm going to take away from this kind of COVID-19 clinic break is I want to make sure when we do call play that the quarterback kind of understands the initial goal. Even though he's still got a progression, I still want him to have that initial goal in mind.
I think that's outstanding. Defensively, we always talk about when we play a team that's running the ball, someone's always, in this front, who's responsible for stopping the direction of the ball? When the ball spills, who's responsible for fronting it? And then how do we fit? And on every play, there's an answer.
Yeah.
And I think defining it in, offensive terms, I think is a great way of doing it. Every time I hear Andrew talk, sometimes it's like sitting in the professor's class. And it's not that his concepts are revolutionary. It's just the way he teaches is excellent.
Yeah, and he's the only guy that I can set. I've got a clinic of his that he's talked about fade quick out that has been around forever. He talked about it for 35 minutes. like it was a new football play, and he's got me writing notes about it. Something that, you know, everybody's run since the 80s.
Now, I know he's going to watch us, so here's what I'm going to tell you. He ran over my mailbox at my old house with his school bus when he was up at watching practice at Michigan. And then we talked football for like 10 minutes and turned on a basketball game for about 3, and he fell asleep on the couch. And so my man Andrew is a heck of a dude, but don't let him near your mailbox.
I guess so. I guess it's hopefully it wasn't one of those big ones that had bricks around and stuff, was it?
No, but it was on a post. You know, I am not a carpenter. You know, I hung up a rake today, and it was a big achievement. So yeah, it was a big deal. Hey, let me ask you a question, Coach.
Yes, sir.
When you're sitting in game planning, you know, we talk about critical downs all the time.
Yep.
Third and short, third medium, third and long, red zone, top of the red, bottom of the red goal line, and then and then the other one that's big for us are series starters.
Yep.
First two play out of the series. You know, we're an up-tempo team, and you know, forever, in my opinion, you know, the key to scoring a 2-minute offense is getting that first down.
Yeah,
I think that carries over to being a tempo guy. That first down is so important. Tell me what you do in series starters to start with. What's your thought process?
You know, I think the big thing, like just in talking to people and studying it, I think, you know, every now and then you're going to have an incomplete pass or you're going to have a 0-yard run. I think the biggest thing for us is taking out any plays that potentially could be negative plays. Like, I don't ever want to be 2nd and 13. I'd rather be, worst case scenario, 2nd and 10. So like for us, one of our mainstays is 2-back power. I mean, we're kind of old school power up. So we feel like no matter what we get, that's at the minimum going to be a 0-yard gain. So that's a safe play for us. Whereas, you know, for us, maybe outside zone has been in, but it hasn't been as great. And it's kind of got a possibility of if somebody hits it or, you know, if we're playing Coach Gaylor at Jinx, he corner blitzed into it one time and out 2nd 15. I mean, it just kills you. And so I think, you know, for us, it's been, you know, either if we're going to take a shot, typically it's a play action. We can max that dude up, throw some quick game where the quarterback can get the ball out of his hands. And then, like I said, kind of our really base runs where we're not getting a lot of run throughs. We're getting double teams. And, you know, we're basically, you know, again, at least going to get back to the line of scrimmage in a lot of thought process. Because like you said, man, just getting that first down can really get the ball rolling, you know. And so that's kind of been it, you know, fast screens, stuff like that. And so I think the big
fast
key,
screens, do you mean like tunnel screen stuff?
No, just like the now screens, just like smokes, where it's just like we're going to pop that deal out there and here we go. So I think, again, you know, for us, we talk so much, and for us being a little bit more multiple and that kind of stuff, it's so important for us to stay on schedule and not get out of routine. So we take pride in trying to be in that 3rd and 4 to 6 range if we have to be in. You know, we don't ever want to be in 3rd and 8 if we can keep from it.
Such a big priority for us this year was the same thing, to stay out of the minus yardage plays. So we really scaled back what we were doing running. I mean, we tag a bunch of RPOs, but we're only blocking 3 schemes right now with a great emphasis on, you know, the front. So we're not turning guys loose and stuff like that. That was big for us.
Yeah.
So what do you like down like in a 3rd down situation? Let's say it's I think the toughest call is that 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
You know, you sit in that no man's land. You know, we always go to space in there because it sits right at the sticks and those type of things. What's your process on that? About the same or?
Somewhat. So we've got, you know, we'll throw some spacing, you know, depending on, I think for us, the consideration on spacing is what we want to do on the back side of it. So one of our babies has been, we run and kind of got it from Coverdale, but we've kind of gotten to where we run a fade stop on the back side. So we get that one-on-one, it's about a 7 to 8 yard completion.
Yeah.
But I tell you, Coach, like, you know, sometimes our better 3rd down stuff has been the old all curl play, air raid, all curl. And we got it from OSU a few years ago. in the 2x2 shallow stuff, on the outside, we call them deeper speed outs, but we run basically an 8-yard speed cut, so it ends up around 10. We throw the crap out of those on 3rd and 6. So, quick game has been there, but like I said, kind of some of our drop back stuff has almost fallen into that 3rd and 6 category, as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, we throw that 12 back to 10 outcut off our shallow concept to the boundary, and we get access. We're just taking it.
We see a lot of inside technique by the corners playing guarding the post, and so sometimes that's almost like stealing into the boundary.
It is, and you get past that break point, so they start to flip their hips a little bit, and it's a little bit deeper than that hitch, so the corners, he's not sitting on it. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the red zone, Coach? What do you like to do?
So we kind of have a series of passes that we throw. We're kind of like everybody else. We do out of 3x1 where number 3's got the quick corner to the back pylon, and you got the 2 short ends paired up with something on the back side, basically, where if we get a one-on-one, we'll still take it. So like a lot of time what I like to do on the back side is maybe put a double move, like a slant and go or a slant return or hitch and go. And that way, if we just got, the premium look over there, we could take that and score a touchdown. If not, we play that, corner out with the 2 ends. The other thing that we've done, just because of kind of the identity that we've been, is, we've treated that goal line short yardage deal with a lot greater emphasis. So we typically have kind of a heavier formation of the week. So it might be, 32 personnel, 2 tight ends, a wing, and an eye. And, we run like some kind of specific stuff down there, G lead, power extra, or power king, like University of Michigan calls it. And so, we spend a lot of time with about 5 or 6 runs paired with a couple of play actions down there when it gets really tight on the goal line. And, we've had a lot of success. The year we won state, we only had to kick 2 field goals that year. I mean, we were pretty daggone good as far as getting it in there and scoring a touchdown.
That's outstanding. All right, Coach, we're going to turn the page a little bit.
Okay.
So we're hanging out at Glacier Clinics, and we're sitting in the lobby, and you're having a beer or whatever you're having. Anybody walks up, who's the person you'd like to sit and have a beer with in the coaching world?
Oh man, gosh, am I gonna be? Is it gonna be bad if I say one of the defensive guys? These defensive guys are out there. I mean, I'm learning more football listening to Vass and Kogan and Gaylor and some of these guys out there. Man, they're spilling all the beans this offseason, so it's been kind of good. So maybe one of those guys. If I were just to sit down and have a drink and talk some ball, man, those guys are like walking encyclopedias right now.
I've had a few beers with Vass in the past now, and he's a good dude.
Yeah. Obviously, anytime I can, steal a few minutes with Coverdell, it's always nice. Just because
we're drinking ginger ale with my man, though. He's much better about that than we are, I think.
You just got to get Coach Coverdell when he's fresh. I hung out with him one time in Indianapolis. I think he had spoke about 5 or 6 hours straight, and man, he was toast at that point.
Dude, when he goes, man, he's out. But I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, I love this question. Now, I'm like 30 years a head coach now.
Right.
So I'm like the dark socks, mow your lawn, get off my grass guy now. And I ask everybody, what really pisses you off in football today? And, mine are these dudes who rate everybody's programs or they go steal the best kid out of the mediocre programs and build their programs that way. That bothers me. That's not how I was brought up. It's destroying football and the other schools. Anything out there that pisses you off?
Well, I just, the trainers right now, the independent trainers out there, and especially with me coaching quarterbacks and stuff. And, I think there are some really good ones that are doing it for the right reasons.
I do too.
But for every one of those, there's 5 that went to academy and they bought a set of cones and a couple of footballs. And I mean, and now we're to that point where, and every sport has them. It's not just a football problem, but we're just to that point where I think parents sometimes feel like they have to take their kids to them. It's like, hey, if my son's going to play quarterback for Broken Arrow High School and he's in 5th grade, I've got to get him somewhere right now. And it's like, no, why don't you just let your kid play football and baseball and basketball and just play? And you know what? I mean, by the time he gets in 7th or 8th grade, he'll be just fine, I promise you.
I think that's outstanding. Yeah, we got a couple good guys that do some things, and we have one particularly I really like him. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's in it for the right reasons. He doesn't overcharge the kids. It's not his full-time job, but it's pretty invested in it probably. But he's just about developing kids and being a good guy. But you're right, man. The other 5 out there.
And the guys that really scare me are the guys that are doing kind of the speed training and stuff like that, because they never ask the kids, okay, what did you guys do at school workouts today? And so I've seen so many kids pulled hammies and, everything else, and it's because they're double working out.
Yep. And, and they got they can tell the kids whatever they want to keep the parents' money coming in, and it's a tough deal. I agree with you. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Jay, I don't want to take your whole Sunday, but I really appreciate you coming on tonight and talking some football with us.
No, I appreciate it. It's been fun, man. I'm honored to be on here, and it was great to kind of face-to-face it over the internet.
Hopefully, I'll tell Alan we got to go to the same clinic one time and talk some football.
No. Hey, before I get off here, now I saw on the Glazier Twitter where you're coming out with some new stuff. Fill me in on that if you can, or is it top secret?
I can fill you in on all of it. They're building a whole new online format, and everybody's redoing systems and building new systems.
I got you.
So I rebuilt my defensive one because it's been 12, 13 years. And we're not anything like we were back in 2009. So we still are 4-2-5 team, and we still play multiple forms of coverage, and we're a heavy zone pressure team and a man pressure team. And we updated all that stuff, and I got all new film. I had a really nice group of kids last year, and they more than anything, and they do what they're coached. So the film's right. And it doesn't, and I think that's good. And offensively, we've been a zone read team since 2005, and we've really changed things around in the last 4 years. We're still inside zone, but we're throwing the glance, and we got the inverted bubbles on some of them, and we're starting to throw the seam concept. For a while, we had been tagging inside zone instead of throwing the seam concept. We were throwing spacing with the inside zone, locking the 5 technique down and reading the backer. And that was pretty good, but I want that vertical threat. So we're going there. We run the dart play and we run power O, and, probably our best play right now is the glance with the power O against quarter.
Yeah.
That's real good. So we put that in there. We started integrating man beaters opposite that this off season. So I talked about that a little bit. And, and we're snapping the ball really fast. And, so we built that system, and they flew me out there, and I spoke for like 3 days straight to a camera.
Yeah.
But the quality, the graphics and everything are going to be fantastic. And they got some other dudes that I think they got like 18 different guys doing systems.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know Dwayne Alexander is doing one, and Tony Anise is doing one, and and so I think they're concerned about the ability to host 30-some clinics next year.
Right.
Some new ideas, which are fantastic, but the content had to be better than it is. It's really going to be outstanding.
Well, you mentioned a second ago, I can always tell how good a football team we had whenever it's the off season and I start to go do a clinic, like you mentioned, trying to find film where everybody's doing the right thing.
I can handle the wrong thing slow, or if you get beat, but you're trying to teach your offensive line kids. We're stepping, big toe, pop step, put in the ground. You got 3 kids stepping around the 1 foot. Oh God, can't. But the film's really good because they're all in the right place. So that's outstanding.
Yeah. It's I did a few this year, and there were some things that I thought we did really well, and then I went back to try to find some clips. I'm like, holy cow! In my mind, I thought we were really good at this, and we weren't very good.
We went out and bought. We went out and bought an end zone camera, and we had one before, the big one.
Yeah.
We got that single post. It's called the Sidewinder from USA Sport Video. Hey, Mike, there's your plug. But we got the best camera you could put on it. And, there's not a lot of lying you can do with that camera because it is so crisp.
Right.
I'm like, come on. I was trying to screenshot stances of my linebackers. I'm like, damn it, I don't have one where my one kid's feet aren't too damn wide. I'm looking for a backup kid. So yeah, you're right. That's trouble.
Yeah, it's and especially like yourself, whenever you go do multiple ones, man, it's like, God, there's so many clips you got to comb through to find them. It's like, holy cow.
And I did it different this year too. I embedded I'll copy the download from Huddle and put it in the PowerPoint.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
And then what I did is I took the best copies I could find and I linked them all. And I got this, what I'll use tonight to edit this up. I made separate film and they're going to link it to that. So you can you're going to be able to watch the presentation. You're going to have access to the actual PowerPoint, and then you have auxiliary film.
Oh, I got you.
For each segment. So I think that's going to be really good.
Cool.
All right, my friend. It was great talking with you. Hopefully we can get together and speak next year. I think you did a great job, and hopefully I'll have this up sometime before 11 tonight.
Appreciate it, Coach. You need anything down this way, holler at us.
Absolutely. Same for you. If you need to get out of that heat, come see me.
No doubt. Talk to you later, Coach.
Yeah, Coach. Thank you. Bye.